Hello, we are live. It is Direct Mail Monday, August 17th, 2020, with this new fangled Facebook Live producer thing. If you've been following my Direct Mail Monday videos for the past couple of months since I've been using this, never know when it's starting, never know when we're going live, and I never see any comments. So I don't know what I got to do to, let's see, it says something here about, oh, can't even figure it out. Comment, moderation. Just want anybody to comment, and I want to see it. So, since I don't think I can see any of your comments, as always, post any questions, comments, concerns in a comment wherever you're watching this, listening to it, or reading it. But it is Direct Mail Monday, and so check it out. Mail is suddenly in the news. And, I mean, come on now. You got these, talk about deranged anti-Trumpers, as Pelosi and whoever else, and the Washington Post and whoever claiming that, like, oh, Trump is trying to sabotage the United States Postal Service. I can't even say it with a straight face. That would be like me accusing my mechanic of trying to sabotage my 1973 Ford Pinto, which was in fact my first car that I ever owned and drove, and almost universally recognized as one of the worst cars ever made in the history of the world. I mean, every single thing went wrong with that car multiple times. There was something so bad with the starter that it kept chewing up the flywheel, and then every time a new flywheel was put in, well, that chewed up the starter, and then the starter flywheel, like back then, $400 in cost, in labor cost, just to drop the transmission, to change the flywheel. Give me a break. And then the starter would go, and then the flywheel, the starter, and everything else went on that car. So it was very educational, by the way. I learned everything it could possibly go with a car, and sort of had a half-ass fix the thing, like take out a pencil and prop open the carburetor when it made that sound, do this when it made that sound. Eventually I stopped paying all that money to replace flywheels and just decided to grind the gears like crazy, attempting to find a good spot so it could start. Oh, anyway, all that kind of stuff. So everyone knew Ford Pinto, one of the worst cars ever made. It's not even possible or necessary, or nobody could even imagine something as comical as someone sabotaging something that sucks. And so how can anybody with a straight face claim that Trump is sabotaging the United States Postal Service? Now look, the workers, United States Postal Service, they're awesome. My mailman, who happens to be a mail woman, awesome. Every time I go to the post office, I'm always amazed that these people can handle all the nonsense that comes their way from people in line. I mean, you pay 50, 55, 60 cents, 42 cents, whatever the heck it is, and they will take a piece of mail from wherever you are to anywhere else in the entire country in 2-3 days for less than $1, a lot less than $1. Like, are you kidding me? And then, but everyone knows, as an entity, the U.S. Postal Service is horrible, and it's likely because they're run like a really crappy business. They'd be out of business, of course. So the naysayers will go like, "Oh well, but the post office is a service. Not supposed to be run as a business, not supposed to make a profit. It's a service." But why not make a profit? All the alternatives make a profit. FedEx, UPS, whatever, they're all making a profit. Why can't the United States Postal Service be run properly? I mean, for instance, I just mentioned like a first-class stamp, 50 cents, 55, 73 for an extra ounce, or, overnight is this way. Everything's in pennies. Like, stop being ridiculous. Stamps go up by 2 cents, 3 cents, a nickel. Like, is that how anything else works? When McDonald's raises its price or something, does it go up by 2 or 3 cents? It goes up by a quarter, it goes up 50 cents, and if you have any kind of a real business, things go up by $20, $1, $10. I mean, why wouldn't postage just cost 30% more for everything? And let the thing make a profit and run properly. It really is unfair to all the postal workers to be maligned, as if like it's their fault that the whole system sucks. You think they decided to price their stuff underpriced so it's undervalued and people crap on the postal service? I hate that. Anytime I go into a post office or see a letter carrier or anybody at all who works for the post office, my hat's off. Unbelievable. Especially here in Arizona where we're going through our hottest summer of all time, and you got these postal workers are walking around delivering the mail in 115-degree weather every day. I mean, come on now. And they're maligned, they're looked down on, they're probably not individually underpaid, but the whole thing, it's as if workers worked for your business and you ran it like crap and it was losing money. That's no way to keep morale of your workers. Run a business properly. Have it make money. It's what the Postal Service should do. It's an unbelievably fantastic service. It should run well and make money, and who better to get that going than a business-minded entrepreneur, Donald Trump, who looks at everything in terms of profit, loss, dollars and cents. But of course, everything he says and does is met with total, the earth is shattering, the earth is ending, Donald Trump, impeach him again, investigate him, vote him out of office. All Trump pointed out is something every sharp business owner, entrepreneur knows, because sharp business owners and entrepreneurs use direct mail. And we know, and I talk about it often here on Direct Mail Monday, one of the risks with the direct mail is that it doesn't get delivered. I mean, there are stories after stories. This is called evidence, folks. There's video evidence, photo evidence. There's firing a postal worker evidence of them, dumping all the mail in a storage locker or dumping it all in their garage and not delivering it or throwing it in the garbage or burning it or whatever. Of course, we know that. We know there's a danger anytime we send direct mail that it might not get there. Might not get there on time, might not get there at all. Everyone knows that. What is this? Somehow this is news? Trump comes out and points out the fact. I see people over the weekend on social media were like, do you think, there's a poll, like, do you think that the post office will mess up mail-in Do you think? What are you talking about? It's a fact. Of course they will. That's not to mention with an added volume, an added crunch, an added pressure of handling all the mail-in ballots that are willy-nilly mailed out all over the place, and they're going to be. I mean, I asked a friend over the weekend. I was on the phone, and I said, like, what would you do if mistakenly the post office delivered like 5 extra ballots to your house? What would you do? What would anybody do? Would you report that? Would you send them back and go, got these by mistake? Would you throw them out? But don't be ridiculous. Everybody would just fill them out. So of course, do you ever live in an apartment complex where a whole bunch of issues of the Yellow Pages or the newspaper or magazines or flyers or whatever all dumped under the mailboxes out in the front? Like, you don't think all this stuff is going to happen with mail-in ballots mailed out all over the place? I love how they go, Trump with no evidence says there's a potential for fraud with mail-in ballots. No, first of all, there's tons of evidence. There's tons of evidence, like I just said, in general, with anything to do with the post office. Again, business owners, that's why you're here, business owners who use direct mail, we know that for a fact. We factor that in. We understand that our mail might not get there. If it looks like junk mail, might not get there at all. Postal carriers are especially notorious for not delivering anything that looks like junk mail because they know no one will miss it, no one will complain. If it looks like a personal letter from someone's grandmother, well, they're definitely, almost definitely, at least they're going to attempt as best they can to deliver that because someone will miss it. That would be a problem. And mail-in ballots are going to fall into that category. They're not going to misplace those on purpose. They're just going to do what are we? Come on, are we supposed to believe that voting is the only area, it's the only thing in all time, in all of Earth, where there is zero fraud? It's the only aspect of all of life where there's no possibility of screw-ups or fraud. That's with voting. There's screw-ups and fraud in every other aspect, including billions of dollars misplaced by government agencies and banks, and then there's Bernie Madoffs of the world, and there's shysters in every area of life. But not voting. Voting is pristine. Voting is perfect. There's no there's no possibility of fraud. There's no possibility anyone will screw it up. I mean, holy stupidity, Batman. Like, do the anti-Trumpers believe anyone with a brain believes that crap? How do they even believe? How do they say it with a straight face? Like, Trump is sabotaging the post office. Post office doesn't need sabotaging. It sucks. It's got great people there, but it's mismanaged unbelievably. So, Trump got in and said, I want to get a hold of the VA, another notoriously messed up. If you know anyone, I know plenty of doctors. They attempted to work with the VA. They said, I gave up after a few months. It's so mismanaged and poorly run, and we don't get paid, and nobody gets treated, and whatever. Of course, it's the same with the post. It's the same with every single thing the government touches. It turns to total crap. But, mail-in voting somehow different? We need Trump to sabotage something that sucks already? Okay, so knowing that the post office has tons of problems, we still use direct mail. Sharp business owners and entrepreneurs still use direct mail. It is still the very best bang for the buck. It's the most effective way to market anything. Talk about undeliverable. How about emails? Emails ever not delivered? Phone calls ever go unanswered? Voicemails? I just had a voicemail pop up on my phone today. I got a call. It's one of my clients. It's from like a month ago. Never saw it before today. It popped up on my phone. I'm like, what the hell? I got to call him tomorrow and go, what the hell? So there's problems in everything in life. You don't need Trump or anyone else to sabotage anything, especially anything to do with the government. It's run poorly, and there's tons of holes in it. It's just the way it is, and it's part of the fact of any large organization. The larger any organization gets, the more screw-ups there are. That's why, there's a lot of solopreneurs that are stubborn about, I don't want to have other employees. They can mess things up. I do everything myself. I understand I'm not going to grow. I understand I'm never going to really have a lifestyle. I understand I'm never going to, have all the things I could have because I just want to have no screw-ups. A lot of artisans are like that. A lot of contractors do custom woodworking and custom. I had a client that did build custom staircases. These crazy winding, incredible staircases that are in the $4, $5, $10 million homes. He said, "Yep, no employees, nobody can do it as good as me." He didn't want me to do any marketing or advertising or improve his ad or anything at all. He's like, "Nope, I got all the work I can handle." I said, "Why don't you hire more?" Nope, not hiring anyone. We understand. Anyway, how do I get off on that tangent? Because everyone knows that if you're going to market your business, direct mail is the best bang for the buck. Speaking of which, just so happens, as always, almost always I dip into my mailbox from examples. Look what happened, would arrive in my mailbox last week, coincidentally, right on the verge of the biggest event of every 4 years for the Democrat Party, their national convention. The last gasp hope for their ridiculous, senile, demented, whatever he is, candidate. I mean, that's the best they could do. Not only is he a complete swamp-dwelling, corrupt creep, but he's also now not even, doesn't even have his faculties. How depressing. We can't, every single year, we can't get a decent choice. Out of all the people running for president, that's the one they chose. They foisted on us. So the only choice, if you don't want, lunatic, off, who unpredictable, does whatever's going on, Donald Trump, is someone who's absolutely despicable. Come on now. But anyway, Trump, who of course is stepping all over the national convention, not abiding by the we let them get a bump and they get all the attention for a week, and then the Republicans. Trump's like, none of that. I'm going on a tour. I'm going to host my own events. I'm going to do whatever. And I had not gotten direct mail from either one of these people ever before at this household. I received these two pieces in the mail last week. Now, I will say, they came to this household, not to me. They came to somebody who previously lived here, who, by the way, I recognize anytime his name is on something, he must be a veteran of the Army, staunch Republican, conservative, all that kind of stuff, because I get stuff from the NRA, from all kinds of veterans benefits and veterans groups and Republican conservative type of stuff, and here you go. So the household, of course, this person that used to live here, I would not receive anything from any kind of Republican or Democrat anything. Both parties are totally ridiculous. But I digress. Donald Trump Jr. sent something in the mail. And not to be outdone, but his brother, I think younger brother, Eric Trump, also sent something in the mail. Now, so they ramped up their direct mail, and then Trump went on the road and ramped up his campaign, all with the perfect timing of anything else going on this week? Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the Joe Biden show, and Trump and his kids do anything they can, as if his kids have anything to do with this. Trump's campaign does anything it can to disrupt, take all the attention away, because that's just what Trump does. So these, by the way, are, I'm sure if I open these, I know just telling by this envelope here, all kinds of great stuff right here. The very best marketers, national marketers, especially political and charitable national marketers using direct mail. So you want to get on those mailing lists. I definitely am not going to throw these out. I'm going to open them. I mean, look, I'll just show you from the cover here. Look at this great stuff. We got this response needed within 72 hours. Repeated twice in red at the top. Well, I've got this more than 72 hours ago. I'm not even going to open it. And then it says the 2020 Great American Comeback Survey, whatever the heck that is. And then look at all this official stuff. It's survey document ID number 23V whatever, congressional district this, that, whatever, household this, survey tracking ID, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, that's good stuff. Makes me, I'm supposed to think that this is some official thing, whatever, that I have to respond, that it's going to get me to open it up. You got to use this kind of stuff in your direct mail, folks, not just send out some boring piece of crap. And again, I'm sure on the inside it's got all kinds of good stuff. But anyway, I'll save that. I'll take a look at it later. But that's already been enough here. Political mail. Politics and mail in the news. I never thought, well, with Trump and deranged anti-Trumpers, everything is possible. And I shouldn't be surprised about anything. But I really never thought it would be some kind of a news story that there are problems with the post office. That the post office is not a well-oiled machine that runs like a top and everything is perfect with it. And there's some concern about the post office. Like, amazing that I see some people in social media repeating this drivel by these politicians because they just buy it hook, line, and sinker, as if like, oh, that's some concern. That's some news that the post office doesn't run properly and isn't perfect. Like, oh, my goodness. Anyway. So, that's it for Direct Mail Monday. Understand that you want to get on some of these political mailing lists and you want to emulate, of course, not necessarily their messages, whichever party, it's all a disaster, all the candidates, all the politicians, all a disaster. But you want to emulate the style, what they use. Now, as opposed to local politicians, which often mail out crap, total crap. And local business owners often mail out total crap, which is why it's so easy to absolutely commandeer the market and take all of the business, or all, pretty much, nearly all the votes, all the swing votes anyway, in any local political campaign, and take all the undecided new business that's going around, people thinking about who they should do business. You can take basically all of that in area by doing some effective, smart, direct mail marketing, using the WOW strategy, of course. So hopefully you do that, and if you want more help, go to helpfromsteve.com. And that'll do it for Direct Mail Monday. Newsflash, the U.S. Postal Service may not handle this upcoming election perfectly. Who knew? Shocking! And Donald Trump saying that must not be just pointing out a fact that everyone knows. It must be attempting to sabotage the election. He'll never leave office if he loses. I could go on and on about the derangement, but that's enough. And I will catch you back here tomorrow on Topical Tuesday, even though today was real topical. I got some more topical stuff for you tomorrow. Hope you'll join me then.